If you believe saving every single penny in your 20s is the pinnacle of financial responsibility, you are risking massive personal disappointment later in life. Today, we look at the math of maximizing life fulfillment, not just, the math of maximizing investment returns.
Welcome back to The Financial Architect, the place where we design a better financial future. Let's dive into why your greatest non-financial asset, your physical capacity, is currently depreciating, and how you need to spend money to slow that decay.
Well, this deep dive really forces us to confront a fundamental economic question. It's called intertemporal choice.
Whoa, okay, intertemporal choice. Big words right out of the gate. What does that actually mean?
It's simpler than it sounds. It just asks, when does enjoying your life now give you a better return than having more wealth in the future? And we're pulling from life cycle economics, the utility curve of age, and this great idea called the memory dividend to completely flip the traditional script on saving.
All right, let's unpack this because we are all products of the compound interest gospel.
We're taught that spending money when we're young is a sin, right? Because we lose all that massive exponential growth. The latte factor. It's been hashed into us.
It has. And it's probably the most powerful cautionary tale in personal finance. And look, the math is sound, but only when you look only at the money.
But there's a catch.
A huge catch. Traditional finance makes a colossal error. It ignores biology. Your investment portfolio, sure, that grows with time, but your physical body, your ability to convert that money into real high-octane enjoyment, that depreciates with time. We call this the depreciation of health.
So you have these two curves. One, your money going up. The other, your physical ability going down.
Yeah.
That explains one of the biggest paradoxes in economics, doesn't it?
It does.
Why is the person who dies with $5 million in the bank after living this super frugal, deferred life, why are they actually the biggest loser?
Because they achieved a high score in financial capital, but at the same time, they went completely bankrupt on what we can call net fulfillment.
Bankrupt on fulfillment. I like that.
They optimized for net worth, but they failed to spend their money when they had the health and the capacity to enjoy it the most. They saved perfectly for a version of themselves that just physically couldn't do the things they'd saved up for.
That is heavy. So this brings us to the core idea you mentioned, the utility curve of age.
Exactly. The source material is clear on this. Money has diminishing returns relative to age.
Wait, can you give me an example? Diminishing returns relative to age.
Yeah, of course. It just means that the older you get, the more money it costs to buy the same amount of happiness. A simple day of adventurous travel requires a ton of utility. A soft, expensive armchair, not so much.
Okay, so let's make this concrete. I know you love this metaphor. The season pass theory.
Right. Think about it like this. You buy a high-value physical asset, let's say a $100 theme park season pass. If you buy that pass on January 1st and you're 25 years old, your health factor is a 10 out of 10.
So that pass is super valuable.
Incredibly valuable. You have 365 days of high stamina to use that asset to its absolute maximum. It's a really efficient transaction. You're getting the best possible return on that $100.
Now let's flip it. You buy that exact same pass, same $100, but it's December 30th.
And you're 85 years old. Your health factor is what, maybe a 2 out of 10? And you don't have the stamina for the big rides anyway?
The park closes in 2 days.
Exactly. The money didn't change, but your ability to extract value, to get joy from the asset, it changed dramatically.
So $1,000 spent on a backpacking trip at age 25 creates huge utility. Fun adventure stories.
Right. That same $1,000 at age 85, it buys a slightly better, slightly softer chair, or maybe a nurse's visit. The price was the same, but the enjoyment potential just cratered.
I get the theory, I do. But for the listener who's, fiscally conservative, this still sounds a little like rationalizing frivolous spending. We're trained to fear opportunity cost. If I spend $5,000 on a trip now, what if I need it later? What if I go into debt for this utility? Aren't we just encouraging people to be irresponsible?
That's the right skeptical question to ask. And let's be clear, we are not advocating for debt. Not at all. We're advocating for prioritizing spending on specific experiences during a very constrained window of time. And the reason the math works is because of something we call memory capital.
Okay, tell us about that. Memory capital.
We have to start seeing experiences as an asset class, not just an expense. So let's go back to your example. 2 friends, they each get a $5,000 bonus at age 24.
Okay. Subject A, the traditional investor, the Buffett disciple. He puts that 5 grand straight into an index fund, stays home, eats cheap, works overtime. He wants that money to be $80,000 at retirement.
And he succeeds. At age 65, he has high financial capital, but he has a lifetime of deferred desires. He realizes the things he wanted to do, like a really challenging hike, are now physically impossible, too risky. He has effectively zero memory capital from that bonus.
Now, subject B, the experienced investor, the Perkins disciple. She takes that same $5,000 and spends it on a month-long trip to Southeast Asia. She knows she's losing the future 80 grand.
But her story is different. She's saying, I am investing in a memory that will pay me dividends for the next 60 years. And this is where the math gets really interesting. That $5,000 purchase wasn't a single transaction.
He was buying an asset.
It was the acquisition of an asset that pays the memory dividend.
So what's the payout? How does that dividend work over time?
Well, think about it. She recalls the trip at age 30 when she's talking to new friends. That's a payout of confidence, of social capital.
Yeah.
She thinks about a tough moment from that trip at age 45 when she's facing a hard career choice. That's a payout of resilience.
And then she smiles about it at 80.
Exactly. She's benefiting from nostalgia, from the knowledge that she lived fully. She consumed that asset, that emotional coupon, over and over for her entire life.
That's a powerful distinction. Subject A saved his money to consume it right before he died, or maybe never. Subject B used her money to get a perpetual psychological return.
And if we look at the neuroscience for why we're so bad at this, the glitch in our human programming is something called hyperbolic discounting.
Okay, that definitely sounds like jargon. Break that down for us. Hyperbolic discounting.
It just means we're wired to overvalue comfort and safety right now, and we dramatically underestimate our future decline. We are certain the discomfort of saving today is vital, but we also just assume we'll be 70 and perfectly healthy. We fail to realize that doing those bucket list things needs 3 variables to line up perfectly: time, money, and health.
And that's the core problem of life, isn't it? You almost never have all 3 at the same time.
Precisely. Let's just break down the life cycle.
In your 20s, you have tons of time and health, but you're usually short on money.
Yeah.
So money is the only missing piece of the puzzle.
Then in your 40s, you finally have more money and hopefully still decent health, but you have a severe deficit in time. Career, mortgage, kids. You can climb that mountain, but you can't find 3 weeks to do it.
And then, sadly, in your 80s, you often have plenty of money and time, but the critical variable, health, is gone. The money just arrived too late.
Which brings us back to the main lesson. You have to spend money to fix the variable you're missing. In your 20s, money is the tool you must use to unlock the utility of your health and time. That is the point of peak utility conversion.
This feels like a radical way to view personal finance. So how do economists suggest we actually structure our spending to account for this? How do we smooth things out?
They talk about something called consumption smoothing.
Okay, another one. Analogy time.
Think of it like a massive buffet. You shouldn't starve yourself for the first hour and then gorge yourself so badly in the last half hour that you get sick.
Right. The goal isn't feast or famine. It's a stable, satisfying meal over the whole time. You want stable living standards across your entire life.
Which leads to the idea of the utility monster.
The utility monster. That sounds bad, but it's not actually a monster, is it?
No, not at all. It's just the period in your life when your ability to enjoy money is theoretically at its highest. It's usually your 40s and 50s when those 3 variables get closest to alignment. You've got career stability, maybe more time as kids get older, and you still have decent health. That's when your spending should peak.
Okay, perfect. So this all builds toward the practical advice, the action plan, the time buckets protocol. You're saying the big problem is we just throw all our goals into a vague someday pile.
Exactly. This protocol forces you to filter your bucket list by biology and capacity, not just by cost. You create 3 buckets: age 20 to 40, age 40 to 60, and age 60 plus.
And you list out all your goals. Climbing a volcano, learning a language, taking a luxury cruise, whatever.
Then comes the crucial step. You put all the high physicality items, the things that need strong joints, high stamina, quick recovery, squarely in that 20 to 40 bucket. Backpacking through Nepal, mastering a competitive sport, things like that.
And here's the revolutionary rule, right? You must spend aggressively on that first bucket now. You have to treat these things like non-negotiable expenses.
You have to, because the cost of waiting is either impossibility or a huge loss of utility. You can't save for that Alps skiing trip you'll take at 75 because biologically, it will be a miserable, painful experience if it happens at all. You're front-loading the experiences that have a strict biological expiration date.
And the 60-plus bucket.
That is what traditional retirement savings are perfectly designed for. The low-energy, high-cost activities, a luxury cruise, reading by a fireplace for a month, golf trips with a cart. Your health limits the activity, but your money provides the comfort.
So this protocol really just aligns your spending with your biological reality. It stops you from saving perfectly for a life you can't physically lead. It's about managing the trade-offs between financial capital and, well, the most precious, decaying asset we have, our capacity to live fully.
Yes. And if you leave the table today with one thought, it should be this. Opportunity cost isn't just about the interest you didn't earn on $5,000. It's about the decades of emotional dividends and irreplaceable memories you never bought because you waited too long.
That is the math of maximizing life utility across all ages. If you want to know how high housing prices and hidden debts make people earning six figures feel perpetually broke, you need to subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's session on the fate-rich economy, while you feel poor on a 100-tone year. Keep building your financial future with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.